Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, November 16, 2022, afternoon sitting. One, report to Parliament on all new loans contracted by Government of Kenya from 1st May 2022 to 31st August 2022 from National Treasury and Planning. Two, quarterly economic and budgetary review for the first quarter of the financial year 2022-2023 from the National Treasury. Three, annual statutory report of the Council of Governors for the financial year 2021-2022. Four, annual report and financial statements of the National Land Commission for the financial year 2021-2022. Five, the seventh batch of nominees to 7 National Government Constituencies Development Fund committees from the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Board for the following constituencies: A, Alego Usonga; B, Karachuonyo; C, Lungalunga; D, Machakos Town; E, Matuga; F, Mwingi Central; and Seme. 6, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the following institutions for the financial year ended 30th June 2021 and the certificates therein: Pyrethan Processing Company of Kenya, Masai Technical Training Institute, Kipsoen Technical and Vocational College, Kajiado West Technical and Vocational College, Kajiado East Technical and Vocational College, Chepsirei Technical and Vocational College, Kapcherop Technical and Vocational College, Kenya Airports Authority, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, National Drought Management Authority, National Youth Service, the Asset Recovery Agency, Water Services Regulatory Board, Universities Fund, National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation, National Council for Nomadic Education in Kenya, National Industrial Training Authority, National Museums of Kenya, Kenya Rural Roads Authority, Rural Maintenance Levy Fund, Veterinary Medicine Directorate Council, Kenya Fisheries Service, Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, National Cereals and Produce Board, Numerical Machining Complex Limited, New Partnership for Africa's Development, Africa Peer Review Mechanism, NEPAD, APRM, Kenya Secretariat, Kenya Bureau of Standards, Export Processing Zones Authority, Mishuki Technical Training Institute, Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and finally Mukurweini Technical Training Institute. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to respond to a request from the leader of the minority party last week regarding the status of disbursement of the NGCDF funds for the financial year 2022-2023. Honorable Speaker, I have this statement from the CS National Treasury, Professor Njuguna Ndungu, that the National Government Constituencies Development Fund, NGCDF, this financial year has been allocated a total of 44.3 billion in the national budget for the financial year 2022-2023. The National Treasury has, however, not disbursed any amounts of the voted provision for the financial year 2022-2023 due to a number of factors. First, he avers that we have experienced delays due to the transition to the new government following the general elections held on 9th August 2022. Second, despite the good revenue performance for the financial year 2021-2022, the Russian-Ukraine conflict exerted pressure on fuel and commodity prices, prompting the government to increase spending to cushion citizens. In addition, the war in Ukraine worsened the international financial market conditions, and as a result, we were unable to raise the expected resources from international markets. This, coupled with a delayed disbursement of funds from the IMF and shortfalls in domestic financing, meant that the financing for the financial year 2021-22 budget was lower by Kenya shillings 241.2 billion. As a result, the government carried over huge deficits, huge pending bills from the previous financial year amounting to 90 billion shillings, payment of which has been prioritized in this financial year. Secondly, the government is facing expenditure constraints and pressures from fuel subsidy, drought mitigation interventions, and salary budget shortfalls as well as new priority programs for the incoming government, such as the establishment of the Hustler Fund, fertilizer subsidy, and pensions. The additional expenditure pressures are estimated at 117 billion. The National Treasury has, however, taken measures aimed at unlocking financing from both external and domestic markets, and there has been notable improvements. Going forward, therefore, the National Treasury will be able to reduce the outstanding unfunded exchequer requests. The National Treasury has also taken note of the Supreme Court decision on petition number 1 of 2018, delivered on 8th August 2022, in which a declaration was made that the CDF Act of 2013 was unconstitutional. It is not clear what the implication of this court decision is on application of NGCDF Act of 2015. The National Treasury has therefore requested for the legal opinion of the Attorney General on this matter, and in particular, the implication of the Supreme Court decision on the utilization of NGCDF budget for the financial year 2022-2023. The National Treasury has, however, not received feedback from the Office of the Attorney General. Finally, subject to the legal advice from the Office of the Attorney General, the National Treasury commits to disburse Kenya shillings 2 billion to the NGCDF every week, effective the week starting 21st November 2022. That statement, Honorable Speaker, is from the CS National Treasury. However, Honorable Speaker, as members may have noted from the statement, the National Treasury avers that they are preparing after the getting an opinion, and he says subject to the opinion of the Attorney General, the National Treasury and Economic Planning will embark on a disbursement plan aimed at disbursing at least 2 billion shillings. And I think this is what they have done when there has been a shortfall in terms of how much has been disbursed, is to prepare to disburse 2 billion shillings on a weekly basis to help catch up. But members may note that there is that proviso on subject to getting an opinion from the Office of the Attorney General. And Honorable Speaker, I do not want to dwell on that subject a lot because we have had discussions outside this plenary, Honorable Speaker, and I am aware we are yet to engage. And being that the matter is still in court on NGCDF Act of 2015, it will be important, even as we engage, Honorable Speaker, that we encourage the National Treasury. I think the AG's office is just across the road from the National Treasury, to quickly walk to the AG's chambers, get that opinion, and be able to advise the committee. And I would really want to encourage members that we leave this matter largely to be dealt with through committee. And I want to encourage, Honorable Speaker, or ask that the chair of the NGCDF committee does immediately write to the Attorney General and the National Treasury, CS, inviting them to a meeting between the two offices of the CS National Treasury and the Attorney General, and in one sitting they can thrash out the issues that are there, so that whatever opinion the AG may have, members can engage in committee with either the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and also the Attorney General, so that if there are any challenges, even the matters that are before the courts, either with the 2013 Act or even with the NGCDF Act, they can be able to engage at the committee and maybe advise us through the normal channels or even in plenary through a report on what actions that we ought to take. Honorable Speaker, it may not also be lost on members, and I think you had a communication to the effect on the debate that we have had on the proposal by the Honorable Mule and the Honorable Gishimu Githinji on NGCDF and GAF. And since there are challenges, and we may not bury our heads in the sand that there are no challenges, those challenges persist, and they are real, and therefore it is an engagement that I would really want us to ask the House that we do engage in another forum, either through committee and in the other informal engagements that we are embarking on so that we don't jeopardize even all the other engagements and the matters in court. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Majority Leader. I'll give only to the man who raised it, the Honorable Opio and I.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first and foremost, I want to caution fellow members that the foot thumping is premature. If you listen carefully to the statement by the Honorable Chungwa, you will realize that there's nothing totally, that has been committed by the CS National Treasury in terms of the disbursement of NGCDF. But let me say this, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, once this House approves budget estimates and goes further to pass an appropriations bill, which is eventually assented to by the President to become an appropriations act, it is incumbent upon the National Treasury to release funds for purposes of effecting those budgetary proposals. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, and from the statement by the Honorable Kimani Chungwa, there is no evidence whatsoever that the National Treasury, CS, or anybody else for that matter, has been served with a court order stopping them from disbursing the NGCDF funds, pursuant to the Appropriations Act that this House duly passed. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this House doesn't act in vain. We don't come here and sit and act in vain. We come here and do serious business. And there's nobody whatsoever under the sun who can veto what this House has passed unless a court of law expressly guides otherwise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, therefore, and I have the ruling here, by the way, the orders given by the Supreme Court on petition number 1 of 2018 are so express. They don't need any further interpretation. They don't. And the courts don't give orders to be interpreted again by lay persons, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, therefore, the idea that the CS National Treasury is still seeking some advisory opinion from the Attorney General on this very straightforward matter is basically to take this House in circles. It's a circus, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I want this House to stay firm and stamp its authority and demand that the National Treasury disburses the NGCDF funds in accordance with the Appropriations Act without any further delay, Mr. Speaker. Today or tomorrow. Today. Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious matter. And when I spoke here last week, the media were misinterpreting what I was saying. I was not saying that we shall go on strike. No, we don't go on strike. We are too serious to go on strike. But we can stop business, Mr. Speaker. This is the House of Parliament. This is the House of the representatives of the people of Kenya. We can stop business until and unless the NGCDF funds are disbursed. And let nobody think that they can intimidate us. We can never be intimidated as a House, Mr. Speaker. And I want to call upon, Mr. Speaker, that you allow a few of my colleagues to make comments on this matter. It's a very serious matter. This is so serious matter that it cannot wait for anything else. It can be debated until the evening, Mr. Speaker, until the cows come home. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I can't tell who wants to speak to this matter. Because many of you have been on the screen since I walked in. Yes. The John Buddy. I'll give you 2 on either side. Then we go to other business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I appreciate the response which has been given through the majority leader, although I could read his body language, he was reading response from the ministry and he was not so convinced. Mr. Speaker, there is something that bothers me. And I think even in the executive, especially Treasury, is not interested in releasing CDF. The reason why I say so is if the order that the court gave, assuming it was served on the Treasury, was for the 2015 Act, and it is clear that the other Act, 2013 Act, and it's clear that the other one, the same people who challenged the 2013 Act went to court to challenge the 2015 Act. That is an admission by the petitioners that the 2015 Act has not been ruled on by the court. And therefore, what is this opinion that you are seeking from Attorney General? I'm not a lawyer, but to me it sounds so clear that even the petitioners themselves acknowledge that what they petition or what they challenge in court has been overtaken by event. And therefore, why are we waiting for this matter of 2015 Act to be ruled on, so that again we are caught in a state where we are asking whether to amend the Act again? So, Mr. Speaker, mine is this simple, that I would urge the majority leader, because he's the point of interaction between this House and the executive, to advise the executive, if they need the advice, that we have said that the law is with them. Number one, the 2015 Act has not been ruled on. Number two, there is an Appropriations Act, and therefore they are not going to disburse funds illegally. They are going to disburse funds that have been appropriated by the National Assembly of the Republic of Kenya. In short, Treasury has no reason at all, zero at all, majority leader, to delay up to today. There is no reason. Let them release funds and let them not talk about 2 billion. Let them accumulate all the 2 billions per week from July 1st up to today, get the total amount. If it is less than 44, let them release that percentage. If it is beyond 44, we are not asking for more than 44 billion. Let them release 44 billion, which they have been accumulating from 1st of July, when the government of Kenya started collecting money for 2022-2023 financial year. Mr. Speaker, that is my comment. And the majority leader, I know you are also pained. That is why I could see your body language. You are not very happy with that response. In fact, I ask myself, when you get these answers from the cabinet secretaries, do you engage with them or you just deliver them as conveyor belt? Because if I were you, majority leader, I would have not brought that answer to the floor of the House. What I would have done was to engage with the Treasury, advise them accordingly, and then you bring a report that could convince this House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Member for Manyata.
Thank you.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to put my statement also on this issue. It is on this issue, Honorable Speaker, that all members of Parliament agree that we need these funds disbursed as quick as possible. And although that statement has been read from the Minister, I agree with the members that have spoken before me that that money should have been brought yesterday. Honorable Speaker, everyone here, and I think many of them can bear me witness, we have Form 4s right now who are not in class, and they have exams that they are starting very soon. We have Class 8 students, and we have many people who are waiting for that money. Honorable Speaker, if this money delays for another 3 weeks, I know many Form 4s will not be able to do exams, Honorable Speaker. It is fair, and it is just fair, to have this money disbursed so that these members, and Honorable Speaker, the new members of Parliament are even more confused, because to them, they had promised so many things that they will do with the CDF money. Some schools, Honorable Speaker, I visited one in my constituency recently that is actually raining and students cannot even stay in class. We have a lot of work we want to do, And I would really request the majority leader to go back to the minister in charge of Treasury and get a better term and condition on the issue of CDF. Let's get the money in our accounts. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
A moment, honorable members. Give me a moment to get this business. Okay. The Honorable Waitan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think this is a very crucial issue, Mr. Speaker, and it has really caused a lot of pain in the constituencies because students who have, earlier been paid by CDF have been staying at home. They have been chased. And you see, that makes the members of parliament elected August 2022 to be far much different than our predecessors. People see us as if maybe we have eaten up the CDF. I think this is not an issue where we as a house we are begging. We are not begging this money. We want this ministry to release these funds. They have no excuse at all. The judgment that was made by the Supreme Court is the 2013 Act, not 2015. This money as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we are going to stop any business in this house. We are not going to conduct any business. We will stop everything until and unless they release this money. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Dikir. Imurua Dikir.
Yes, asante sana Bwana Spika. Nataka niseme ya kwamba hii mjadala yenye inaendelea kwa hii chumba ya CDF. Bwana Spika, hii sio swala yenye inabidi sisi tuiongelelee kwa muda. Ninaelewa na tunaelewa kama wajumbe kwamba saa hii kunao shida mingi kwa serikali, haswa kwa mambo ya pesa, haswa kwa mambo ya malipo. Lakini Bwana Spika, tungeliomba kwamba hata kama tutaenda kungojea vitu zingine kama majengo, kama ya kuenda kujenga mashule, tungependelea na tunaomba kiongozi ya walio wengi ahakikishe ya kwamba ile pesa ya kwanza tuipate hata ya kulipa fees kwa wanafunzi ambao wamejaa kwetu, ambao wako nyumbani, ambao wanangojea kulipwa fees. Saa hii tukikaa hapa Bwana Spika, messages yenye tunaipokea kutoka wanafunzi, tunaenda lini? Mnatupea lini? Bwana Spika, naomba na ninaomba kabisa kwamba serikali kwanza i-release hata kama ni 40 million kwa kila constituency ya kulipa fees kwa wanafunzi, ndio hata hii ingine tukijua ya kwamba serikali inaendelea kukusanya pesa na inaendelea kutafuta pesa tutaelewa. Lakini please tafadhali Bwana Spika, hiyo pesa ilipwe mara moja ndio watoto waende shule. Na kwa issue ya kotini, Bwana Spika, kotini ilirule kwa kesi ya 2013, act ya 2013, sio 2015. Na hakuna mtu ya kutafuta ati decision ama opinion kwa kitu yenye hijaruliwa upon. Kwa hivyo Bwana Spika, ningependa kusema
The Honorable Bissau.
Bwana Spika.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I remember in the last ruling, the Speaker then requested the Majority Leader to give a comprehensive statement. But what the Majority Leader has given us is not a comprehensive statement. And I think in law...
Order, Honorable Majority Leader. Majority Leader, you should be listening to the sentiments of the members of Parliament. Honorable MP for the Goretti South, please take your seat. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, what was requested from the Majority Leader was a comprehensive statement. What he has given is not comprehensive.
Majority Leader.
Can I finish?
Let him finish.
Can I be protected, Mr. Speaker? I think
proceed.
There is nothing in law that prohibits the majority speaker, the majority leader, after speaking to the financiers, not to speak to the AG. In any case, Mr. Speaker, they are on the opposite side, across the road. So what we request is a comprehensive statement. This is a weighty matter. There are children back at home, they have not gone to school. There's a lot of outcry. And what we expect is actually a comprehensive statement, a comprehensive feedback with very clear timelines on when this is going to be disbursed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Are you still on order? The Honorable Gogo, and then followed by the MP for the Greater South. And then we'll take two more and proceed on to the next order.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I want to allow me, Honorable Speaker, to speak to the majority leader on this matter, and allow me to get his attention through you, Honorable Speaker, because as he's engaged, he's trivializing this matter and is busy just conversing. Honorable Speaker, I kindly request that you allow the Honorable Majority Leader to listen to me, Honorable Speaker, because as he's engaged, he's busy talking and laughing.
Order the MP, Honorable Lagat. Don't keep the Majority Leader busy with sideshows.
Yes, he's just being engaged, and they are joking about matters that as NGCDF, I represent a single constituency called Rangwe constituency, and through the Honorable Speaker, the matter at which you are joking with Honorable Majority Leader would also determine whether you are going to be Majority Leader for the future or not. Because when it comes to matters NGCDF, the person of the AG is a politician. The executive has been elected through an elective process. Kindly protect me, Honorable Speaker. When it comes to matters NGCDF, we don't need to belabor it.
Dr. Gogo, order. The Honorable Majority Leader is on a point of order.
You know, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Lilian Gogo, the Honorable Bissau, addressing the Leader of Majority as if he is a Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury. I just want to inform them that the Leader of Majority is neither the Cabinet Secretary in charge of the National Treasury, nor do I stand here in his place. The Leader of Minority asked for a statement from the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary through the Leader of Majority. I am just a conveyor. Members of the public from Kikuyu constituency are waiting for CDF just like those from Rarieda, those from Kiminini are waiting.
Order.
And therefore, Honorable Speaker, and if members had listened, Honorable Speaker, which is more fundamental, and the Honorable Pio and I did allude to it, the foot thumping was premature. Equally, the castigation is also premature. This matter is more weighty. The matter of NGCDF and the issue of the CDF Act of 2013 and NGCDF. And that is why I even appeal to members to be a little bit balanced on what we say here in view of the matters that are in court. And I would really want to beg members to be measured, especially on the matters that are in court.
Proceed, Honorable Dr. Gogo, and just finish your concerns.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. At least now, the Honorable Majority Leader is responsive. And when he is required to give a statement on the floor of the House, Honorable Speaker, it is only responsible that it is expedited in a manner that is convincing to members. And when it comes to matters NGCDF, Honorable Speaker, of course we know there are people who run to court. These people run to court because whether Kenyan children go to school or not, they don't care. But for all I care is that the Honorable Majority Leader should speed up whatever he's doing. We need a comprehensive report, a matter expedited in a way that these monies are going to be disbursed to the various constituencies so that our children who are stranded at home with their parents can go to school. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The MP for the Greater South. Order. Honorable members.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I would want to actually take a different view. For starters, I want to understand that the leader of majority is actually the messenger. And we have no business here shooting the messenger. The message is weighty. And the members of this House need to understand that what is under siege is actually a fund that is very dear to their constituents. That beyond being the House that reads from the Book of Lamentations, Mr. Speaker, this House will now have to start being a bit more innovative in how they think about this NGCDF matter. NGCDF, as is constituted originally, and the NGCDF 2015 is actually under serious peril. And it is not even the Treasury that has problems with it. Now, this being the House that makes laws, Mr. Speaker, we will have to think very quickly. First, the broken telephone going through the leader of majority is actually going to get us into more jeopardy. We might now, having fully constituted committees, might start to think of how we invite these people to the House to answer directly to this House, because this is broken telephone. What we're getting from the leader of majority has gone through a lot of processing. It came from the courts, went to the Treasury, now has to go to the AG. I think these people can appear in person before this committee urgently. We are able to summon them. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, we might need to think of how to reconfigure NGCDF substantially. We might need to even think of how to properly bring it under the purview of this parliament. If it will mean to have this NGCDF administered through the Parliamentary Service Commission, then so be it. Because, Mr. Speaker, this parliament cannot keep being at the mercy of a treasury or an AG, because as we speak now, Mr. Speaker, all we are doing is reading from the Book of Lamentations, and we are the House that makes laws. We can make laws that change how CDF is administered.
What's your point of order, Honorable? The MP for Suna East, Migori.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I said this yesterday on the floor of this House, and I want to repeat it. Mr. Speaker, there is a conspiracy in this country against CDF. And this conspiracy is being perpetuated by both the executive and the judiciary. And the idea is to fight Parliament and to make members of Parliament look as useless as possible, Mr. Speaker. CDF is not a fund that began yesterday or today or the other day. It has been there since 2003, 2004. It has been there for the last 20 years, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is not a fund that was started in this parliament or last parliament. If people feel, I know the judiciary is behaving in a manner that they think they are going to fight Parliament, but in the actual sense, they are fighting.
He's on a point of order.
No,
you can't have a point of order on a point of order. Order, Honorable, order. Exhausted your time, Honorable MP. Order. Order the MP for Dagoretti South. You do not engage the chair in a debate.
Mr. Speaker,
proceed.
The judiciary is behaving like they are fighting Parliament, but in the actual sense, they are fighting the people of Kenya. The beneficiaries of CDF funds are the people of Kenya. Their children are not going to school. Their schools are not being built. The roads are not being done that are leading to schools. Mr. Speaker, this matter is a serious matter, and this Parliament, because Parliament doesn't have a union, as you know, and our union normally is the Parliamentary Service Commission, and that union has failed us time and again. You know that. We cannot even access any allowance of late because of our failed union called Parliamentary Service Commission. Parliament now must down their tools completely, if need be, until this matter of CDF is sorted, because the conspiracy is being perpetuated by two arms of government called the executive and judiciary against one arm of government. And they know both arms.
If that is too long for a point of order
No,
interjection.
allow me to contribute.
The chair is the interested party in this debate. That's why the chair is not observing the rules strictly.
Yes.
But having said that, don't also have it as an open-ended. MP for Mandela, finish in 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker,
yeah.
Can I leave my point of order at this point, and then you can give me time to contribute?
No, just you have 2 minutes to conclude.
So, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for your indulgence. Mr. Speaker, I am requesting that if need be, Parliament must down their tools because, Mr. Speaker, this is ridiculing Parliament also in one way. We are two sets of acts of Parliament that were making NGCDF constitutional. One was made illegal by the Supreme Court 1 month, 2 months ago. Another one today again by the High Court, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if that is not fighting Parliament, I don't know what it means fighting Parliament. And secondly, this new government of Kenya Kwanza, if they have no money to fund the CDF, let them just say we have no money, we are broke. Instead of telling us, oh, it's the court, it's there. I want Parliament to summon the Attorney General, summon the Committee of Parliament, NGCF, to summon the AG, to summon the Minister for Finance, the Treasury PS, to summon all people in the executive who are dealing with the NGCDF so that we can face them on the eye and tell them that Kenyans are suffering. Mr. Speaker, thank you for your indulgence. That is why you are a good speaker. You know.
Fair enough. The MP for Mandera West. Did you need to conclude beyond what you have said? I thought you had concluded. Okay, you have 1 minute to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I have to also join the honorable member for Suna East and say that you're actually very deserving to be on that seat, Mr. Speaker. And also say that, as you observed rightly, you're actually an interested party. Mr. Speaker, I was actually concluding my remarks because I was waiting to hear which standing order the member from Suna East was standing on. However, my more salient point, Mr. Speaker, had been that this House is capable of moving in the right direction as concerns CDF, that we can stop reading from the Book of Lamentations, reconfigure how CDF exists, and if it will mean for us to bring CDF under the purview of the Public Service Commission, what the member for Suna East is calling our union, then so be it. But in the meantime, Mr. Speaker,
Service Commission, not
in the meantime, Mr. Speaker, the people who are capable to answer us need to appear before this House. The broken telephone of information coming from Treasury, going through the AG, coming to the Leader of Majority is not helpful. All I would like to know is whether downing tools means also skipping South Sudan for the sports. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
The MP for Mandera West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I also echo my colleagues, and I start by saying that CDF is money appropriated legally. It's not money that we are begging. And this House is the House that appropriates all the monies. If we cannot get the little money that was appropriated by this House for the purpose of the constituency's development, then it is very unfortunate. I will request the various committees which are relevant to this issue to summon those, let's say the Minister for Finance, the AG, and even the Chief Justice, who said maybe initially said the 2013 CDF is illegal, and therefore all these things is coming because of that. So that she can also come here and say, no, that was 2013 CDF, not this one. Unless we summon all those together by one committee and they answer questions and release the money, then we are doing nothing here by asking for statements, by sending our Leader of Majority up and down here as if he's an errand boy. He is not. So what we need, I think, is to summon those, all those who are concerned. And we don't need the statements, we need the money. In my constituency today, 80% of students who are relying on CDF for bursaries are not going to school. All livestock and livelihood are lost because of drought, and therefore, in the next maybe 2 years, there will be nobody going to secondary school, there will be nobody coming to the universities, and therefore, there will be no education system. There will be a serious break within the education system.
The last one, the honorable members. Okay, the honorable Dr. Nyikal, Professor Nyikal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this issue is demonstrating a very important fact, that this House must realize that the executive is taking this House for granted. Why do I say that? Look at the communication that has come from the leader of majority. The way CDF issue has been going on, it is an issue that is well known within the whole government, and the magnitude is known. It is not possible that the cabinet secretary is going to give a reply without actually making consultations. So when the cabinet secretary says, subject to consultation, what stopped the cabinet secretary from consulting in the first place before actually giving the answer to the leader of majority? It is a delaying tactic. And I'm sure that by the time the cabinet secretary actually wrote that reply, he had actually consulted, and I think this matter was taken casually by the whole executive. I'm sure as of now, the whole cabinet is aware of the status. Even if, as I hear now, that the court today ruled, it is clear that by the time this was being, the reply was being constructed, that information was not available. They decided, the whole executive, to take this for granted. That is why they give a casual reply to the leader of majority. What are you going to consult tomorrow that you cannot consult now before you give the reply? Mr. Speaker, they're taking us for granted. And my suggestion, when we call them to the committees, it should now, the committee should actually be in here, and all of us now will be the friends of the committee, and the whole House should sit now with them in that committee. And then they hear what our opinion is. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The last one for Dr. Bukose.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to make comments on the report by the Majority Leader. Honorable Speaker, Majority Leader here is the messenger. And as you are aware, when the President addressed this House, he requested that we make amendments to our standing orders so that the Cabinet Secretary would have been addressed. And I think these are the challenges, and it is high time that the House takes this matter of amending the standing orders very seriously and urgently, because otherwise we'll keep on lamenting and complaining. And as you are aware, I was listening to Minority Whip. You know he was the chair of the BBI, and you exhausted all the money. Now, this is where the problem which we find ourselves in. So there is no point of order, Majority.
The Honorable Dr. Bukose, when you get an opportunity to contribute on a matter that is...
I'm well guided, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
I withdraw my friend. You know he's my friend, so I was saying that in a light touch.
Proceed.
So, Honorable Speaker, I think if we can make amendments to our standing orders, then this issue that we've raised can easily be addressed. But our students are paying, and we are going to January when schools are going to open, and it will really be a big mess, especially for the first-timers who have never even issued any bursary. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I raise my case.
The MP for Kwanzaa, what's banning you? Proceed. You are the last one, very last one.
Very last one, but I want to say this with a very heavy heart. That, Mr. Speaker, out there's rain. Some places, and we have constructions of some schools and what have you, that the rains are going to spoil some of these constructions. Mr. Speaker, for all I know, the case that is in court is for 2013. Let the Treasury release the money as we wait, because there's nothing we have stopped them from releasing the money. The case is there. So while we do, Mr. Speaker, we want the leader of the majority to get to the Treasury and demand tomorrow that they have to release the money. Because, as we said, I don't even know what to do. I can't even get home because there are too many people complaining, both from the colleges, secondary schools, and all the other places. They want the money. So, Mr. Speaker, there's nothing stopping the Treasury from releasing the money, because what is in court is 2013. The CTF of 2015 has nothing to do with the 2013. So, Mr. Speaker, the leader of the majority should stop other businesses, and tomorrow he goes to Treasury to be able to have the money released. Otherwise, we are not happy. Thank you very much.
Next order. I have already called for that. What is your point of order? What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I want to bring, with your indulgence, I want to bring to the attention of the House that the supplementary budget is coming in few weeks' time, in 2 weeks' time. I want to plead with the House that we should not pass that supplementary budget if there is no CDF. That's the language the executive will understand. Can you clap for me?